you're someone who cheers for everyone else but forgets to give yourself the same applause.
In my world, there's no behind. There's only a start.
Welcome back to the Better You Show. I'm guessing you clicked on this because you're someone who cheers for everyone else but forgets to give yourself the same applause. Today, we're turning that around because celebrating yourself isn't arrogance, it's acknowledgement. The coaches and I are talking about comparison, that quiet thief of joy that whispers, she's doing better, or he did it, why haven't I? We've all felt it. Let's look at how to stop measuring up and start showing up. Welcome, coaches. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you.
Great.
Great to be here.
Let's jump right in. When a client or maybe one of the viewers starts to feel behind, how do you help her define her own timeline?
Well, what I've learned is there's no behind. In my world, there's no behind. There's only a start, and a progression. So that's what I work with my clients on. It is just talking about why do you feel you're behind? Because there is no behind. You're starting. It's only you. You're starting right here. There's nothing to compare you to. And mm, we talk about it that it's okay to be different than somebody else, right? And it's exciting to show those differences as well because we're showing ourselves. So it's okay to be happy. You can smile. Just because that person doesn't smile doesn't mean you don't need to smile. If that's what makes you feel happy from the inside out. So it's one of the things to start.
Absolutely. And we see the social media feeds or internet feeds or anything like that, where all these people seem to be achieving and doing wonderfully. And we're seeing their, like all of the great things, because nobody's posting all the struggles that they went through. You don't know that they've spent the last 20 years developing this thing and failing and gaining everything. So you're absolutely right. There is no behind. There's only starting, and I love how you said that, Coach Joyce. Uh, is there a way that people can stop and be able to begin to define that for themselves?
I think there is, and I think it's really, to say it in a perhaps a slightly different way than Joyce, but with the same perspective. When you are looking at someone else's timeline, you're creating a bar for yourself that doesn't allow your own life and the progress of your own life to be. And we know for sure, and studies have shown that the scrolling through the social media with the concept of comparison actually triggers us to have lower self-esteem and think that we are less, so and so has this, so and so has that. And instead of looking at our own successes, we're looking at really curated images of what someone wants us to see. And sometimes what's behind the scenes is not at all in alignment with what they're presenting. So I think comparison can trick us into thinking that by comparing ourselves, we're going to make progress. I'm going to be like her. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And switching that around, notice the pull, pause, and set some micro boundaries. Okay, I'm not going to spend all this time scrolling, or I'm not going to spend all this time comparing. Instead, I'm going to pause and think about what I really need and the direction that I'm taking in my life. What do I want? Where am I going? And those are those micro steps towards becoming ourselves and celebrating ourselves for who we really are.
Oftentimes, with my clients and with other people, I've noticed that they begin comparing themselves, but they don't actually want those things. They just see that all the other people have them, so they must want them. They must be striving for those kinds of things, but those things don't make them happy. Does anyone else see that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I would say it's such a deception. And we think that it's similar like how we were talking about on our previous episodes that um, growing up, we are conditioned with some expectations. And as an adult now, or being on social media, we're always seeing those kind of, we're automatically our brain, we're training our brain to have those kind of expectations when we're seeing it online. And like Coach Shelley said, those are curated and they want us to see that way. We don't see what's behind the scene. However, when we are comparing ourselves, what are we comparing with? What is their reality and what is my reality is very different. So it is when we are tying our self worth with that kind of an expectation, we are actually putting ourselves in a trap, and that's where we're getting caught, and we are also suffering, and we go through depression, we go through not feeling worthy because we're always comparing with that curated whatever we have in front of us, because that is giving, when we are scrolling and keeping on looking at it, that's giving us dopamine hits. So we want that like, and someone is cheering for us. That's actually, instead of actually cheering for us, they are sabotaging us because we wanted to show them there's something that is not really real for us. We're still showing on and sharing with others, and people are liking and putting that, giving us the dopamine hits, and we are now believing that, oh, this is our reality. This is what now we are comparing subconsciously, that I have to live up to this, what I wanted to, or and this is what I curated to show it to the world. So I personally ask always to my client that, is this your real world or is this the Facebook world? Or is this that social media world? Right? Is that, are you aligned with what you're projecting? Are you aligned with that? And like you also said, Coach Doris, it takes sometimes 10 years or 5 years to come to this point. We are not seeing that. It's not, it's like we said, we have a 10 years overnight success, right? So we actually worked hard, or that person worked hard, and that did not show up, that's not showing or sharing with the others. So these are deceptions. So I always ask my client those questions, that what you really are aligning, what your heart really wants, what you really, who you really are, or who you, what you're trying to gain or feel good right now. Is that something what you're looking at? Yes, it's giving you like that dopamine hit. It's having feel like letting you feel good for a second. And but is that really what is really serving you from your heart, mind, and your body? Is that really, are you aligning with that? So when you really take a pause and ask those kind of a questions, you start to break it down and really ask your questions, and you're like, no, this is not truth. This is something different. This is not me. Yes, it's giving me temporary relief, but it is not something that I should tie my self-worth with.
Yes, absolutely. And what you just said reminded me of something I heard, and I wish I could remember who said it, but it was the real life versus the real life. So REAL versus REEL, right?
Yeah.
So which one do you live in? So excellent points, Coach Shara. Thank you.
And I just wanted to add one more thing though, as kind of a plot twist. So I had a client and she was telling me this kind of stuff, right? She's like, I don't have this and I don't have that. And then, I'm on social media and everyone seems to have their lives together. And then she flipped the script to inspiration. So instead of
like comparing herself. She was looking at them like, hey, you know what? This is certain things are really aligning with me and I don't have them yet, but this is inspiration for me to try to achieve that. And I thought, that's as long as that's really what you're aligning with, that's a great way of looking at it.
Good point. Good point. Absolutely. It can actually help us with our productivity if we have something to aim at. And if that's something that's truly important to you and
Yeah.
you're aiming at that, then you've got that. And you know that if Peggy Sue can achieve it, then you can too, right? Um, sorry, just had to make up a name. All right. So coaches, how do you help someone stop relapsing into the scroll without shame or withdrawal if it's not serving them? If it is serving them, like Coach Tiffany said, then have at it, right? Put limitations so that your life isn't consumed by it. But how do you do it if it is not serving you?
I have a framework. I call it 3R framework. So you can recognize, you can regulate, and then you can replace. So when we say recognize, so what is that emotional trigger is actually happening to you before you start scrolling. So if you're bored, whether if it's you're having a self-doubt, what makes you, so you try to recognize that, so you take a pause. So when I'm working with my client, I ask that question because most of the time we're not even aware, we're just picking up the phone is right there, and we start scrolling. So when we do that, so just stop for a second before we scroll, recognize it. Hey, why am I scrolling right now? Is it something intentional? Do I want to learn something? We want to, or it's just for entertainment, or it's just because I'm bored. Because we are nowadays, we are losing our critical thinking because we are not using our brain properly because we're always depending on the phones or someone or AI to think for us. So we're losing that ability. So recognize, number one. Number two, regulate. So if it's how do we regulate? So if I know that I'm bored, just then if I take a pause and then I don't touch my phone, I just take a deep breath or just go for a walk, even for a minute, I can just get up, get a glass of water. That will help me because once you actually start moving, your brain is rewiring. Your brain is rewiring you, it's directing you to different directions. So you forget about scrolling, right? That's how you regulate, just one point. And then you can replace your habit, right? So you try to think, how am I going to replace that with something else? So instead of a scrolling, I can have I can just say, okay, I already have my phone on in hand and I was just about to scroll. So I'm just going to, instead of that, maybe pick up my journal, start writing something on the journal, even doodling. If that also helps because your mind is creating something instead of just being dependent. And that's a huge another topic to talk about how we are, if you're not exercising our brain, how we actually also lead it to dementia and other issues in later on. So we can talk about that later, but I'm just sharing right now the 3R framework. It's easy to remember. So you recognize, you regulate, and then you replace.
Excellent. Those are wonderful tools. Thank you so much, Coach Sarah.
You're welcome.
All right, we're going to play Mad Libs again, but this time for compliments. So we're going to do it individually. So write down the name of a famous person and then write down a personal growth topic. So I'm going to give you the phrase and then I'll have you read out what you put. So the first blank is your famous person. The second blank is your personal growth topic. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
You're the blank of blank in the Better You team. So the one that I came up with is you're the Albert Einstein of boundaries in the Better You team.
So I would say you're the Madonna of relationships in the Better You team.
I
Yeah.
can also say
Ah.
you're the Mother Teresa of gratitude of
Oh.
other. It's a Better You team.
And apparently I am the Lucille Ball of confidence.
That's hilarious.
That's great.
That worked out nicely.
That's
Yes.
probably true. All of those.
This is great.
You are the Mary Tyler Moore of the road to becoming you of the Better You team.
Oh,
Beautiful.
Again, yeah,
Mary Tyler
we can see
Moore.
that.
I love it.
Yeah. Nice work, coaches. All right. So
Great game.
those compliments might be a little bit playful, but they really do sort of ring true. And they're
Mhm.
powerful reminders of how strong we are when we choose compassion over comparison. So remember to choose compassion to all of our viewers out there over comparison, especially when it comes to yourself. Sometimes the hardest work we'll ever do is learning to speak kindly to ourselves. And if you've tried it with us today, even just once, that's a small but powerful shift. Send this to someone who could use a laugh and a little reminder that she deserves her own applause too. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Better You Show. Find your coach for your Better You journey at betteryou.coach. See you next time.
Next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, hey, thanks for watching. Since you watched this video, we thought you might really like this video. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe right there for more great videos. Plus, tap that notification bell so that you don't miss any videos at all. Comment your thoughts below and see you next time.